Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the live stream. Cheers. It's a Thursday. It's mid-hockey season. It's baseball preseason, spring training. Basketball, I think halfway, more than halfway through. They had the All-Star game. And yeah, here I am for your questions and answers. Just kind of wait for the chat to ramp up. And I will attack that as soon as everybody joins in. Like starting right now. Hello, Jessica. You're always first, and I always appreciate that. And what I've done here, just in case I need some reinforcements. Let's see, how do we have this set up here? We may have to, jump into some, It's not what I was hoping for. There we go. We may have to jump into some Super Nintendo here. If the situation is right. We have to get into some Mario Kart here. 1992? Seriously? Where does the time go? I mean, this is almost 30 years old. Wait, 92, 02, 12, 22. Yeah, there you go. I'll play one of these. I'll play one of these while the chat gets going. You know what? Don't let this distract you from the chat. Go ahead, jump right in the chat, and I'll get there as soon as possible. Of course I'm going to be Mario. Mario Ferraro. Yeah, I think I want the Mushroom Cup race. I don't remember the difference. Look at the graphics. Let's see here. Here we go. Guarantee a win here. Should I guarantee first place? Whoa. Oh, I got the red turtle shell. Look at that. I'm already in first. Come on. Come on, right? All right, green shell. See, the trick here is that you just can't lay on the gas the entire time. When you hit the curves, you gotta just lay off the gas. You don't have to go brakes. You don't have to go gas, brake, dip. But you just can't go all gas all the time. Kind of like life. Whoa. Are we in the last lap yet? Nope. Oh, missed him. Dang it. What a waste. Another green shell. I like the red ones better. They're like heat-seeking. Can't wait to see the comments after this. Is this the last lap? Thank you. Whoa! I think I almost got bonked by my own, see if I can get a better, another green shell. Whoa! Look out now. There it is, look at that. Did I guarantee first place? Or did I guarantee first place? All right, enough of that. Let's get back to the, let me see here. Where is my chat page? Boom, there it is. All right, let's see where we're at here. We're still on Jessica's chat, and there's been plenty more since then, including Seriously Sour Pig, Haha Funzy, Jacob, Chapman Uber Alice, Chapman above all else, right? Is that what that means? Zach, what's going on, man? Oh, look at that, Oscar. Greetings from South Korea. See, that always gets me right there. The fact that, you know, somebody's watching from a full ocean away at this hour. And I think it's morning tomorrow in South Korea, if I'm correct. I guess here, you know what I could do? Let me see if I could put this back on the screen. Give me 1 second here. Greetings from South Korea. So, let's see here. It's probably, well, it's definitely daytime. And yeah, it's tomorrow morning. Look at that. In fact, is it tomorrow afternoon, actually? My goodness, it's crazy how the dateline works. Anyway, this is my, that's my geochron right there. It's a little device. It's kind of like a world map. It shows you what time it is everywhere else in the world in real time. Well, I mean in real time, but a graphical depiction of it. Marty, cheers to you too. Ryan, no, this is just a single IPA. It's Diablo Island, a tiki-inspired IPA from Danville Brewing. Honestly, it claims to have fruity notes, and it does, but it's not overwhelmingly, like, you know. It's not like flavored beer, like flavorful. I mean, it's not overly done. I've had some that, taste like fruit punch. It's not that. Brutus, what's going on? Oh, say something to reassure you about Donato as a Shark. Justin, are you saying in terms of him staying or, like past a trade deadline situation, or are you saying that he's been struggling? I'm surprised, honestly. His scoring prowess last year in Minnesota was so great. I thought, in a regular season of 80 games, 82, he'd be like a 20-goal scorer. It just hasn't panned out this year. It started well. I just feel like the scoring has been rough for him this year, and that's his thing. So I'm not I'm not the decision maker, but I can recognize that he's struggled to a certain extent this year in the production department. I know he's capable of it, so it's not a matter of can this individual be that person. He can, and he has been. He's just not this year. Some people are still a little panicked about losing NBC Sports California if they have Dish or Sling. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about that. And even if I did, I would not be able to comment much. In this case, I suppose it makes it easier. I don't even know anything about that right now, but I'll do a little research and hopefully I'll know some more. Just got done with an Animal Crossing decorating session. I need to know more about that. I'm not sure what that is. 92, a wonderful year. Yeah, in a lot of ways, I suppose so. Mario for Mario. All right, the chat's way behind. Ferraro for Super Mario. I guess I should have done the 100 class challenge. The Sharks 92 draft class. Yeah, I don't think the 91 or 92 seasons were that great. It was 93, 94, right? First year in San Jose, first trip to the playoffs. At least get a Wii. How about what's the latest Xbox? Or is it PlayStation 5? Is that out? And something about an Xbox? Is it Xbox 360 or is that the one I have? I honestly don't even know. I feel like I learned Mario Kart from Malibu Grand Prix or a pizza parlor, one or the other. No, but that, right? That wasn't like a video console. That was a console game, not like a arcade game. That's what I'm trying to say. Currently playing Mario Party. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Mario is like timeless. Super Mario, for whatever reason, is timeless. I got that dub. Yes, the elite Mario Kart driver. I'm playing 50 class. Oops. Favorite part of the Sharks job. You know what it is, Brian? It's the fact that I don't have to manufacture enthusiasm. I don't have to manufacture frustration. I don't have to manufacture anything. I'm inspired to go to work every day because a new game is a new story. It's a new chapter. You never know what you're going to see. There's so many days and games and memories I have, and who would have known that those would have been created when I show up to work that day. And honestly, it's to share it with everybody else too. And it's weird in a year like this, especially where I don't see anybody, we are going to be at the tank tomorrow and Saturday, but nobody else will be there. So it's weird when I'm constantly just looking at the camera and not getting more personal feedback besides, like here on a social platform or Twitter or whatever. It's a lot more fun when that's the case. But right now, it's a little bit lonely. So that kind of takes away that part of the job. But yeah, like I said, and the other thing too is I think when you're, I'm a dozen years in from the working aspect, and I'm, almost 30 years in from watching it, from spectating it. So I think what's cool is if I had just joined the Sharks 2 years ago, the Stanley Cup final run, I wouldn't have experienced it. Or Joe Thornton, in his prime with the Sharks, I wouldn't have experienced it. Or whatever, Logan Couture's first NHL game, or the playoffs, the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row in 2010 and 11. So all those experiences and, the games I went to before I was actually working with NBC Sports, it's kind of nice to have that database built in that I can just rely on or, lean to and rely on. after watching me play Mario. Yeah, it's funny. Mario Brothers, the game, no good, no dice. But Mario Kart, for whatever reason, I just dominated. You got tickets to opening day. Seriously, Sour Pig. That's awesome. I'm interested to see the setup. I think I really do think it's going to be 10,000 over, 2 decks and maybe the bleachers. I have no clue how the seating is going to work, but I know spacing is going to be important. And so I'm curious to see how they distribute the 10,000 fans. And I'll be there too. I'll be there opening day and that entire weekend. Sorry, AJ. I already mentioned the Diablo Island. I'm just behind on the chat from Danville Brewing. It's 7.4 ABV. I mean, it does have some fruitful flavors, but it's not overly, like I said, it's not fruit punch. Congrats on getting tickets to the A's game. I heard that happened today, and I heard their site got cyber attacked. There was like a hack on the A's ticket site. That's pretty crazy. Ever thought of doing some teal highlights in your amazing long hair? I'm hoping to not have this for a lot longer. I've reached the point of fatigue in the hair. When it's hard to sleep and any windy day, and I mean, like, I have my mouth out. It reaches from the side and it reaches from the top. It can get in my mouth at this point. Drying it after a shower is like a whole 2-hour process. It's just ridiculous. I'm done. I'm honestly done with the hair. So as soon as I can do it in a reasonable way, I'm doing it. Getting rid of it. Tim, any chance the Sharks front office is going all in on a total rebuild? Now, I made this mistake on TV last night, and I used the word rebuild because Erik Karlsson used the word rebuild, but the word Doug Wilson used was reset. Reset's obviously less than a rebuild. I think no matter how it's phrased, right, you're going to see within a year's time, a year and a half's time, 2 years' time, whatever it takes, you're going to see the process of what they're actually doing, and then you can gauge the level of the magnitude of how they're trying to restructure. Because I think we can talk about how long it would take if it's either a reset or a rebuild, but you can also look at the magnitude of the moves to figure out, well, is that a reset or is that a rebuild? So I don't specifically know how deep and how complex this is going to get. I also don't know what their options are. There are contracts with no trades and no move clauses, and I'm not even suggesting what to do. I'm not. But I do recognize that if you're trying to change things in a drastic way, it's going to involve some difficult decisions. And that's a key part of it. Difficult decisions. It's not stuff that you want to do. It's like anything that provides a worthy result in life. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some commitment. And a lot of times it's going to take some things that your brain doesn't want to do. But if you want to get there, and your heart doesn't want to do, but if you want to get there, it's going to take some maneuvering. Elvis Andrus should be leadoff for the Oakland A's. And while we're there, I heard Mark Cano is a potential leadoff guy this year. And from the onset, it seems a little bit weird because he's not a small strike zone guy, like in a sense that he's not, hard to pitch to. He's a big boy up there. He's a power hitter, right? He's swinging for power. But the thing is that Mark Canha had so many good at-bats last year. He worked the count so well. That makes me think how much sense that makes. So again, it's just, I never thought of him that way. I think of him more as a cleanup guy, as a DH and a cleanup guy, or an outfielder, utility player, but a big bat. But it would not be a bad option to have him leading off. I know. I never thought about him that way. Think we could deal Brownie for a third? No, I think we could deal Brownie for a bag of pucks. So Curtis and I are working on this. We're getting Batman and Robin costumes. And eventually, I think at the end of this month here, we're going to have a show involving a coin flip. I'm hopeful to have the Sharks captain videotape a coin flip from his home, send it to us. We'll have Brownie on the spot call heads or tails, and we'll figure out who gets to wear Batman and who gets to wear Robin for the rest of the night. Pole position at Chuck E. Cheese. You know the other one that I loved playing? It was like that off-road game. It was like, I think there was like 4 steering wheels on it. And it was like trucks. Hit me up in the comments section here in the live chat. It was like 4 trucks, and they were doing like an indoor, almost like a monster truck track race. If you remember playing that game, that one for whatever reason was, and there was like a nitro button, right, to make you go really fast. If you remember that one, let me know about what the name of that was. Nintendo Switch is hella fun if I prefer Nintendo. I do like Nintendo. Look, I grew up on Nintendo and Sega Genesis. N64, I was maybe a bit too old. I was past it. Oh, and PlayStation. You know what? PlayStation, I think the first one came around when I was in high school. Yes, I'll be 40 in about 2 weeks. But yeah, it was that one was a lot of fun too, because the graphics were, and putting a CD in the, they had the top clamshell thing, putting a CD in there was like, whoa, this is awesome. Prediction for the next 6 games, and I appreciate you with the info there, Brian, because all I really knew were the Blues and Kings as the next 4. So Blues, Kings, and Desert Dogs. And thank you for loving the videos. I love doing them for you. Here's my optimistic prediction. The Sharks can maintain the level of play, the level of effort that they've had really in the last 5-6 games. They've looked really good, starting with the last time they played St. Louis. And then they went down to Anaheim and kind of steamrolled there. Rough sledding in Las Vegas in terms of results, but the effort was there. And if you put forth that effort, look, I'm just going to say you could probably, that effort's going to probably get you 1 of 2 against St. Louis, could get you both against the Kings. And if I'm being optimistic here, at least 1, if not both, against the Coyotes. I know what you're saying to me, Brody. How can you, isn't that overly optimistic? In a sense of, I'm saying if they can match those efforts that we've seen lately, that's the part where I feel like I'm being risky on the optimism. But that's all I'm asking for. Continue the efforts, and I think the results are going to work themselves out. Against Las Vegas, that's a total different story. That team is 20 wins in 27 games. If they call that boarding that happened to Timo, would we have won the game? I imagine you're talking about, late in the game. Look, Sharks had already kind of lost their momentum at that point. 2-goal lead going into the period. You allow 1 on a power play. The too many men was rough penalty to take. They score 10 seconds into the power play. The Sharks, look, last night, Las Vegas is that good to come back and score 4 times in the third period, but the Sharks stepped on their own toes. Simple as that. Do you watch any sports with other frequency outside of baseball and hockey? I watch some basketball on my off nights, especially in the winter. To be perfectly honest, during baseball season, I don't have much time for anything else. The 5 or 6 or sometimes 7 days a week that I work, I'm spending 3+ hours those days just watching a game, let alone, our pre and post show and preparing for those. So to be perfectly honest with you, Alden, and it's a great question. The answer is kind of yes, a little bit, but not as much as people think. And it's just, I don't have time. And I always go back to the to the saying of an electrician. They work all day wiring things and doing what electricians do. Do they go home and rewire their house? No, they rest and recuperate so they can be good and excited about their job the next day. So it's not like I'm saying I shy away from sports, but there are moments where I do sports for work, that so much that it's like, all right, this is the time to take a quick break from that. 4-2 is a guess for the next 6. Look, and that's exactly what I was just spelling out there. If the Sharks keep that effort, I really do feel like the results are going to prove beneficial. Opening day, for SAP or no? I know what you're saying there, Jordan. Are there going to be fans at SAP Center? And I've said all along that if it happens, it's going to be in the final month. That's not with me having any inside knowledge. This is not me spilling the beans on anything. I honestly, I'm just saying this. Let me go to can I go to the honesty camera? Where is it here? There we go. That's just me saying this from pure gut instinct. It's this. You know, you're looking at improvements, you're looking at vaccines, you're looking at a lot of things trending in the right direction. And I know how tough it is for Santa Clara County just because the bar they set, how high it is and what the Sharks would have to do. So just here to say that's where I would keep my eyes peeled on the last month, but it would also not shock me at all if the clock just runs out. If May 8th comes and it just hasn't been an option yet. And you know, there also is gonna come a point where it's gonna be April 25th. And if things seem like they make sense with the Sharks, you know, think how much procedure and protocol and training and it has to go in. If you're gonna open the doors, right, you're basically starting up a car that hasn't run in a long time. Now, I'm not saying the Sharks couldn't get it done. I'm just saying there's kind of a, you know, they'd want to do it for the fans if they could, the moment they could, no doubt. But I also realize it's like, man, that's a lot of hard work to have fans in here for 3 games at the very end. So like I said, possible. They'd be up for it. I absolutely know that. But I just think you're up against things getting better versus how much time do you have left in the season. Your mom met Logan when he was still with Worcester. That was back in the day, the Worcester Sharks. You know how long it took me to learn how to say Worcester? Worcester? What? Back in the day. Trying to get a 5-star island on Animal Crossing, so lots of furniture purchasings and DIYs are happening tonight. Okay. Jessica, I still don't know what you're talking about. I hope you know I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know. I don't get it. How can you get Brownie to sign a jersey for you? Dalton, what's going on with you? Dalton, seriously? Why would you want Curtis Brown to deface? You have a perfectly good jersey, and you want Curtis to scribble his signature on that? I mean, let's just say your jersey's already worth, you know, in the hundreds of dollars, and you want him to put a Sharpie to that? You know what? The best guess is to see us hopefully next season at the Tank when fans are there and like opening night, pre and post game live is there. He'd be happy to do it. I know he would be. Especially if you're a viewer of pre and post shows, he'd love to do it. Until then, it might be difficult. Or hang out at Sharks Ice this summer. I know he'll be there catching up with his youth teams. Just shape it into a mullet before you cut it off back to the high and tight, just for the LOLs. You know what? I might request that. And I think the haircut I get with all this coming off, right? With all of this coming off, it has to be documented, right? I can't not get a haircut or get a haircut and not videotape it and not put it on YouTube and not, you know, put it on social. It's 2021. That's what all kids do. You got to do it for the gram. I just want to do it for the gram. Or actually, I want to do it for YouTube so the video can get monetized. Full honesty, if we're really being real. I don't think we should fire Doug Wilson yet, but I do think someone else should do contract negotiations. Look, you know, I'll say this. Doug has built and rebuilt and restructured this team many times over. And if you had somebody in mind right now who you are like, this makes a lot more sense than what you're doing, I'd be open to hearing about it. But I also feel like Doug built this, and I've quite honestly said this last year too. This is the opportunity for him to rebuild it. If anybody knows how, you know, he built this up. It's almost like building a house. If somebody was going to work on your house, preferably, wouldn't you want the architect who designed it to retool it? The fact that they know it best, they know the pieces they have. You know, they know the entire farm system. They know the pipeline that they've built. It's not just the NHL team. You know, am I going to take heat for having this take? Probably. There's people that are critical. Oh, you're just defending him. No, I honestly think. I mean, if I felt different, I simply wouldn't address this topic. So Ricky, it's a good question. And I agree with you. I think you want experience in this position. You want somebody that's got relationships with all the other GMs. And, do you feel like if you made that change right now, are you guaranteed things would turn in an instant right direction? So, Darius, oh man, I appreciate you for hopping in the super chat here. You love the sound feel video. Multiple dimension sounds were sweet. So that's another video here on my YouTube channel. Stand by. The YouTube channel you're actually watching right now. And there's something called Soundfield. It's a microphone made by a company called Rode. There's also an audio plugin that works for different applications like Pro Tools, Adobe Audition, whatnot. What it allows you to do, if you're wearing headphones especially, it allows you to put some space in your sound. So things that, like nature, they sound great, normally, but all of a sudden you get that depth and that width. You also can adjust the height of it. Anyway, check it out. If you're an audio nerd, if you like sound, if you like technology, this is like the future of sound. And I say it on the video that, when HD came around, everybody was so pumped about like, wow, I can feel and see everything. Like I can see every wrinkle on Brody's face. And, audio has not had that same development. It hasn't had the same next step for all these decades. But realistically, this sound field technology has been around since the 70s. In fact, I think even the 60s. And it just hasn't come to the forefront. Microphones and headphones and the right processing wasn't there, but now it is. And I think you're really going to see it in sports too. You're going to enjoy watching a sporting event with the sound depth like never before. Like literally, if you close your eyes, you would not know where you're at. You would think you're at the actual event. So, Darius, I really appreciate that. And as I always say here, when people jump in the super chat, everything that goes into this YouTube channel gets invested right back. I get better equipment. I make more stuff. It all goes right back here. So I appreciate that. 70s Brody, best Brody. I'm from 81. I was almost from the 70s, but I'm from the very early 80s. Let's see here. Let me try and catch up on the chat. Holy smokes, I am so far behind. To explain it very easily, Canna has a professional swing. Mark Canna takes professional at-bats. Like fouling pitches off, good eye, patient hitter up there. He can also go yard. So that's why, to me, it's an amazing dilemma that you'd say, well, is he a leadoff hitter? Is he a cleanup hitter? I mean, he could serve all the roles for you. It's just sometimes in your mind, you pigeonhole a player as a certain, guy in the lineup. And it just takes a little bit of creativity. Now, do I think he has, the prototypical speed of a leadoff guy? Do I see him swiping 27 bags this upcoming year? No. But look, I think the most important thing is get on base and, let your two-hitter, let your Chapman, let your Olsen, let your Moreland, do some damage right behind your table setters. All right, let's see here. Let me see here. Amazing hockey here. It's something, all right. I never could have predicted the waviness in the back. It's all straight. Then it gets to a certain length and it's completely wavy. Oh, look, it's Joe Thornton. No, it's Matthew. Hey, Matthew. Do you think this is a good time to have the Sharks rebuild? AKA, I know I have a Jumbo as my profile pick, but I'm not him. I think the reality is this. You don't get to choose when you have to rebuild. When it's not been working for a sustained period, and that's a hard time, right? Because last year was not a full year, and this year started under so many unreal circumstances, and you're trying to judge the team and the outcome through these tinted lenses, honestly. But that's still to say that you can see what's going on. You have a pretty good idea. They've been struggling in certain regards and certain individuals and certain aspects collectively. But I think what makes it difficult is, a last season that gets cut short. Now, cut short by what? 12 games? Yeah. So you got most of the season. And this year, condensed, started on the road for 40 days. We're off for 10 months, totally out of your cycle. But But I think there's enough to understand that this movement has to happen to some degree. So it's not, here's what I'll say. It's not my place to define exactly how great this is. Like I keep using the word magnitude, how deep this rebuild, or, to quote Doug, again, rebuild is Erik Karlsson's word, reset is Doug Wilson's word. How big this reset is, I don't know. Like, how big will it be? I don't know. But you have to establish and you have to acknowledge that something of that variety needs to happen. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do that today. I forgot to text Tommy Wingles. But Moonglow and everybody else, you will be happy to know. And you may have recently realized that we've done the Sharks Mystery Guest series. We had John Scott on. We had Rafi Torres on. And I have secured the next mystery guest. In fact, you'll find out who it is. It's not Tommy Wingles, but you'll find out who it is on Saturday. I am slated to do the interview tomorrow, right here in this very home studio. So you will find out, and you know what? I will text Tommy tomorrow. I made that mistake, got a little tied up today, totally forgot about it. Miriam, am I ready for baseball? Yes. You know what? Last year, baseball was so weird. I thought it was going to be the conversation piece of our country. I thought first full like sporting season starting, and granted, I think a lot of people watched. For sports, we saw that we're not in a bubble, played outside the bubble and traveling to different ballparks, and I don't know, it was weird because it was just so quick and so condensed, and yeah, I go back on that season, and I enjoyed it. Happy for the A's. They won the equivalent of 97 games. I loved covering it. But for whatever reason, it didn't feel real. It felt virtual. And it was. So look, what I'm looking forward to, Miriam, sorry to go long-winded here, but I'm looking forward to the course of this baseball season. Baseball getting more normal by September and October when it concludes the regular season, and life feeling and getting a lot more normal by September, October. All right. So maybe that's kind of why I'm looking forward to this season, especially, is because, last baseball season, you had the idea that between July and October, we're still trudging through this. And even this hockey season and a lot has changed and a lot's got better. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hockey started January 14th, 13th or 14th. Look how bad the pandemic was in North America, in our country. I mean, it was the peak. It was the heat of this so far. And things have gotten dramatically better. But the point being is that I really feel like this baseball season is going to be the one that ushers us back to a little bit of reality. If I had the ability to pull one player from any position, and team, and place him on the Sharks, oh my goodness, who would it be and why? I would cherry pick a few from Las Vegas. You know what, Dalton, if I were more prepared, what I would want to do is I'd want to sit down and think about this and give me a day, let me really sink this in. I could go team by team, maybe even from the West. And of course, I'd be like, hey, give me a McKinnon here. And I'm not going to do that. Who would I take from the St. Louis Blues, by the way? That was the next team that came to my mind. And there's a couple options. I just wasn't instantly sure. But long story short, here's the best way to analyze this. And it also is what scares me about the Seattle Kraken when they get to do their expansion draft. You know how Las Vegas got so good? Let's be brutally honest. It's because, sorry, my ear is really scratchy. It's not because they went out and hauled a bunch of superstars in. They didn't do that. What they ended up doing was getting a bunch of really good mid-range players. They didn't get bubble NHL players. They didn't get a lot of guys that were, is he an AHL guy? Is he an NHL guy? They got a lot of this is an NHL player and he's pretty good. There's better players out there, but this player's pretty good. And when you put all those mid-plus range players together, you've got yourself a hell of a team. You've got depth. You've got accountability. You've got guys pushing each other. Now good players turn into great players. Players that all they needed was the opportunity to shine. I mean, how many... And don't get me wrong, it's not a knock on a Marchessault or Alex Tuck, for example, or even a Mark Stone. But how many of these guys, before... Maybe Mark Stone. I mean, but how many of these guys were really having as much success as they are? Were having the same success before they were in Las Vegas as they are right now. Like they're all finding their rhythm and their groove, especially in Las Vegas. It's not to say they didn't have success elsewhere. I'm just saying it's not a surprise that they're finding their way specifically in Las Vegas for that reason. So, Dalton, I guess what I'm trying to tell you here is I could cherry pick all the superstars, but I'm not sure that's actually the best way to do it. Crazy as it sounds. AJ, how am I digging the reverse retro jerseys? You know what? I have a whole video on that here on the channel. I did it, almost 2+ months ago. The day they came out, I went and reviewed all of them. Dallas's being all white, very interesting. Anaheim by far has the ugliest. And I will say this about the Sharks. And I didn't mention this on the video, but it's true. Curtis Brown, as much as I love to knock the old guy, a couple years ago, he had Junior Sharks jerseys made up. And I'd never seen the old crest with a full gray jersey. Like the Sharks always were white and teal. That's it. And black. For the main jersey color. And I told Brownie, I was like, wow, that gray, and it's a Sharks like original color. It pops, like the gray with the crest and splashes of teal like they did them up. It was really, really classy, really sharp. And so he and I were joking the other day, like they might have copied the Junior Sharks jerseys from a couple years ago that they started going gray. Somebody saw it and was like, I think we got something here. So I really do like the Sharks. But you say best? I think the Minnesota North Stars / Wild. I think that's got to be up there. Those ones are among my favorites. I like what the Red Wings did. I think they kept it super simple. It's such a, it's such a polarizing thing though. Stuff I like, not everybody does. But if I recall, and just trying to rack off the top of my head what they all look like. And some, like a lot of the original 6 teams, like what do you do with Montreal? Like you can't go totally overboard, Logos never changed. Toronto, same thing. And Toronto's are just okay. Or if you're like Las Vegas, retro to what? 2017, 2018. So yeah, I'll just say worst, Anaheim, no doubt. Vegas Sharks rivalry is intense and I love it. Look, I just wish it had the same meaning. Like it's got the same temperature right now, very high. I wish it had the same, implications as maybe it did in the first couple seasons. Honestly, it's Las Vegas jumped into competition right away. And that's something I got to say about their franchise. They, going to the Stanley Cup final their first year of existence, if they were a football team, if they were an NFL team, that would have been the biggest story of sports, like in the previous 3 and the next 3 years. We'd still be talking about the whoever's in the NFL. I can't believe first year they would have made a movie about it already. But because it's a little bit lesser known in hockey, it's just not as prominent. So my only knock against the Las Vegas franchise, I love the rink setup they have there right on the Strip. How can I admit this? I like their color scheme. I like the fact that they've set up shop. They got in before the Raiders did too. So they've had a chance to establish and dominate the market. Very important. They'll be successful and they've had instant success. They'll be a profitable, successful franchise for many years to come. And yes, they got the fortune of the draft process. But my only gripe is that I think people that follow that team and are so faithful to that team, they have not gone through the rebuilds. They have not gone through the resets. Let me say reset one more time. They've not gone through the reset. They were not the expansion Sharks of 91, 92, and 93. You know what I'm saying? So They kind of aren't in position to really understand the journey and the experience of sticking with it. Sorry, I'm just looking at the old baby monitor over there. There's some movement. There's some activity. Gonna see how that goes for a second. Literally gonna monitor that. I think we're good for a second. All right. But it may not be long here. I wish people understood that it's best to be first or last in the NHL. We don't have a first place kind of team right now. Ricky, are you saying that you want draft picks? Is that honestly what you're saying? You know what? Let me see here. Give me a second. I'm just keeping an eye on the old baby monitor over there. All right. I think we're fine for right now. AJ says, you're going to need me to bring my soldering iron over so we can route the mic cable through the... You may have seen that video too, AJ. Yeah, soldering. Who would have thought that I'd be a decent solderer? Is that solderer? Soldering iron was a Christmas gift from last year. As for your last question, future video idea. Gosh darn it, Dalton, I apologize. I know I might have answered your last question. I just got way off track here in the chat section. How often will I be doing these kinds of videos and streams for the A's regular season? You know what? It's Corona 29. I'm glad you're the beer and not the virus. What I might do during baseball season is have a mobile setup. I might do these live streams. Would it be imposing to do them during the game? And I wouldn't go this long. I may do a quick 10-minute thing during a game. I just feel like baseball every day, no off nights. It's kind of, I would definitely not do it after every game. But we'll see. The idea and the thought is there. I definitely want to keep it rolling. I love the live aspect of doing these. Do I see the Sharks landing any of the big free agents at the deadline? Sam, to be honest with you, I think the Sharks are either selling to get better for the future or just standing pat. Or gaining a player that only makes sense for the future. But what I'm saying there is they're not closed off to acquiring anybody. They're only going to do it if it makes complete sense. And I don't know that those opportunities are always going to present themselves. Brody beers are a recurring thing. Yeah, I feel like once a month or so. Maybe once a month. If I could, which hockey player would I want to get in a fight with? I mean, you're assuming that I would have a chance to compete in said bout. I don't know. You know, like a Ryan Reeves probably. I feel like we could have some fun. I'm not saying that. Look, it's weird. The guy has developed a role. Even I talked about players finding themselves in Las Vegas. Ryan Reeves. Not to say he didn't have a calling card before this. Not to say that, he wasn't established in the league before this, but I think he's more so now in Las Vegas for who he is, what he does, what to expect from him. Yeah, he kind of looks like he has too much fun out there sometimes. You met Brownie at an alumni booth and got an autograph? And then what'd you do? You threw that piece of paper away, hopefully? Or you needed some fire fuel, maybe? Do you guys actually sit in the broadcaster seats behind the goal during the games? Or is that more or less for friends and family? So I have not been to a Sharks game at all this year, but I will tomorrow night and Saturday night. We're limited to where we can and should be. It's by our little TV setup, which I don't even know where it's going to be. They really don't want a lot of movement. They don't want a lot of mingling of people there that doesn't need to happen. During Sharks games in normal times, though, I spend most of my time in the team office where I have computer, internet access, multiple TVs. It's quiet. I can hear myself think and work. And sometimes I'll go out and I'll sit in one of the corners away on the opposite side of the bench. And I'll get literally a front row view. And I'll just watch the game that way. But it's where I used to hang out when I was reporting in the broadcasts. But yeah, I actually, for most Sharks games, when we're at the tank, I actually don't watch the game in person. I know, and Brownie gives me so much crap for that. He honestly does. Actually, some games what I'll do is go down there in the office for the first period. I'll watch the second period from like a penthouse suite. There's an alumni one. There's a couple friends that we all have that we just go to their suite, whatever. And I'll watch from up there, have a snack, and then watch the third down below so I can kind of prepare for the post-game show. I know what you're saying. Why wouldn't you watch it? You're there. There's something about the resources and the assets I have in the office versus in the seats. Putting the bro in Brody lately. Douglas, I assume you're talking about the hair, and I appreciate that. Wait for the tank to open and do the cut during an intermission. Should we do it live? I mean, it may take way longer than an intermission. Like, this might take a good hour and a half to get all this off, or it could go quickly, I suppose. Got to try a few different haircuts. Yeah, when you finally toss the salad. Now, Alden, I think what you're saying when I get rid of the salad. See how many of the Minnesota State High School all-hair hockey team salads I can copy. No, and that would be fun, right? To cut out a bit of a mullet. It's kind of like when I used to get rid of the playoff beard, and I would do it in sequence. You know, I'd do the chin strap, or I'd do the handlebars, whatever on the mustache. So maybe I should, when I get the hair cut off, like let's have some fun with this. Let's do a mullet for real while you're shaving the sides off and cleaning them off. You know, honestly, I just can't wait to not look like this anymore. Like I want to go back to normal. I also want to, for however long this is going to be here still, I also want to like get my final taste and kick out of this, you know, because this is never happening again. I don't think in my life. I'll shave it next time, like by myself. I will not let this happen. I let this happen, learn my lesson. Would I do an NHL 21 stream? You know what? Maybe this summer, if I could somehow do it with Mario Ferraro, I would love to do a collaboration, like a YouTube live collaboration. To be honest, the guys are starting to gel. Young guys playing well in the team are playing for each other in the season well. Let's see what the next one brings. See if Doug can work some magic. And that's even in the last series. You're not seeing this team unravel. You're seeing this team tighten up under adverse circumstances. So I'm not saying that's going to solve all their problems. I'm just saying, as opposed to where they were, 400 days ago, last year, last season, this is a totally different story. Going in the opposite direction in a good way. So I think the answer lies there. After you get to witness this for a full 56, what do you do to the team after that? Just don't believe in our goaltending getting us anywhere. I've watched Doobie so much living in Minnesota, and he isn't the answer, nor is Jones really. But Nicholas, I got to say, and Dubnyk had a rough one last night, but I think Dubnyk has played well enough right now to be of interest for competitive playoff teams. It's a compliment. I'm not saying this is not a knock to him that I don't want him on the Sharks. I'm just saying I think other teams want him as a trade piece right now. Good backup option. Remember when the year the Sharks went to the Stanley Cup final, they picked up James Reimer in this exact same situation. I think a lot of teams would want a Dubnyk like the Sharks wanted Reimer. Let's keep it rolling here. I jinxed the Sharks last game. I will make a video of this. How broadcasters can never jinx your favorite team or the game you're watching. It's just ridiculous. Jinxing stuff was a 1980s thing, a 1990s thing when everybody was only listening to the game broadcast and nobody else was chatting on Twitter and people weren't telling you how to bet on your sports. People talk about games and stats and odds of this and happening, and not all the time. All the time. So to think that, you can't talk about it anymore, there's like the level of conversation has multiplied 1,000 times over about every single game you watch. And it makes sense that more people are going to mention the shutout that a goalie has, or the no-hitter that a baseball pitcher has, or the fact that a team has never lost when X happens. So it's my point being that broadcasters can never jinx your team. I do believe you can jinx things, but I don't think by saying it out loud or tweeting it, that's not going to. In that case, you know what I've never had? I've never had $1 million show up in a suitcase on my front porch. I've never had that. What time is it? 10:42? I've never had that at 10:45 p.m. Think it's going to happen? I'm so optimistic. I think we should have a monthly cast called Bros and Cons. I'm opt bromistic. That was bad. That was that bad. That was that bad. You know what? Hang on one second. Let me realize that I need to adjust something here. I need to bring my volume up on that just a little bit. Let me try. Whoa, nope, not that. Let's see here. Live chat. There we go. Let me try the old buzzer again. Whoa, sorry. Maybe a bit too loud, old bro dog. All right. Let me see here. Are we going to lose Shimak Gambrel or one of our great up-and-comers? I don't know. I mean, I know who the UFAs are. I realize they are more likely to be dealt. And Dubnyk, by the way, is a UFA at the end of the season. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of movement at all from the Sharks. I just don't. I think if you are going to see movement, it might be bigger scale players at this point. If you really need to change directions, unless you're going, trying to get picks back right now, I don't know that, I don't know how much in versus out you're going to see come trade deadline. And by the way, we're about 3 weeks away. April 12th is the trade deadline this year. Las Vegas got mostly fringe second liners. I'm saying that's exactly it. That is exactly it. The Sharks have been your favorite team since you were little. I'm right there with you. I'd love to know how many years ago that was. My question is, what is your favorite Sharks moment? Oh, well, the Pavelski comeback / payback, and the question was asked earlier, what's, what do you love about your job? Like I said, I know it all. I don't need to be like, well, I wonder what other moments this franchise has had. The first, and this is when I think I was in middle school. The first ever playoff season that they had and beating Detroit like they did, that was David and Goliath stuff. And what was awesome is I got to go down to the tank to watch the away games on the Jumbotron. They played it. They had fans there. They played the organ like there was a game going on. And then some of you may remember this. Afterwards, after watching the Sharks play, they'd let you skate on the ice at then San Jose Arena. Or in my case, they'd let me hold on to the boards and let my ankles completely bend in rental skates. Funny how life changes. Well, because I own skates. That's about the only thing that changes. So anyway, yeah, that would be up there. Of course, the Pavelski payback. I think the Stanley Cup final experience, even though the fact that they lost, just like being the centerpiece of the hockey conversation was awesome. I certainly wish the result was different, but I hope that's not the only time in life get to experience that. Can I get Curtis Gabriel on the show? You know what? Look, I would love that, actually. I think the cool thing about why I say this is it's not like Curtis Gabriel's not already out there, which I appreciate. I think in different circumstances, you'd be like, man, we don't know anything about this guy. I feel like we do know a lot about him. So that's great. There's no secrets. What I'm saying is I would like to talk to him. I hope we could steer it in new and interesting directions. And I know he was on the John Scott podcast. I only heard a couple clips. I would obviously want to go back and listen to that whole thing so I don't duplicate or I can build off something that I already know. But I know he's got a great, story behind him. And I think the answer to that is absolutely yes. So, yeah, I would love to have him and his potato breakfast on our pregame show. Almost caught up in the chat. That means that less people are watching or less people are interested, or maybe I'm moving fast. Owen Nolan trucking Belfort behind the net. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Trust me. There's a lot of good ones. Funniest moments in Sharks history. Thornton selling after his hat trick years ago. How about Joe Thornton? And was it Henrik Sedin or was it Daniel? And that was a playoff series, right? Where he was talking to the official and he was like pointing at one of the Sedins, but as he was pointing at him, he was literally rubbing his glove in his nose. That was a pretty funny moment. There's a lot of other ones, but since you mentioned Thornton, that one stands out to me. Gabriel was on Hockey Central today. Yeah, no, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of times I feel the urge because I'm like, we have not heard from this player. Like, we don't know much about him. I feel like we know a little bit about him, so maybe just the urgency to get there is not the same, but I'm still captivated. I would still love to do that. I think it could be very interesting. Sharks uniform do I like the most? No question. It's the current throwback or heritage jersey, the current heritage jersey. Because it's got the modern cut, but all the old feel and the old color, like that 90s teal. Not the 2000s teal, the 90s teal. So Craig, to answer simply, it's the current heritage jersey. Absolutely my favorite. Favorite player interaction ever? Could be the multiple times that I was struck in the undercarriage with a stick. Yevgeny Nabokov was part of that in my early years. Brent Burns was part of that in my later years. Yeah, actually, this is the right one. Yeah. Or I would say doing the bench interviews and just getting constantly harassed. Water shot at me, sticks appearing in my face during a serious conversation. They loved, and they knew I loved it too. So it was good down there. Another favor is when Ricci had 3 goals in 2 or 3 trips to get patched up from high sticks and pucks to the face. Yeah, Reach was like a photographic Shark. He just looked like a hockey player, got bloody like a hockey player. To your point, took a couple pucks like a hockey player. Absolutely. If the Sharks can't make the playoffs, am I rooting for the Leafs and Thornton to take it all? Absolutely. 100%. And the Leafs are in good position to do something special. Let's see where we are here. Was Karlsson the first defenseman captain with Ottawa? Couldn't. I mean, no, 100% positive no. Unless I'm crazy. 100% positive no. Is it fun having Randy and Hetty in studio calling games? Well, Mark, crazy about this. For the first handful of games, they were in our studios. They were in our building. To be perfectly honest, we don't cross a lot of paths based on all the COVID protocols we have. So we don't see a lot of people face to face. I rarely ever even see our producer face to face. We talk a lot. We video conference a lot. I really only see Curtis like face to face, and there's a huge plexiglass in one studio. In the other studio, we're separated by probably 50 feet. For obvious reasons at this point, and for when we started, even more obvious reasons back in January. But let me say this. I posted it on Twitter and on Instagram last night because it was overwhelming. Randy Hahn, Brett Hedican this year calling all the away games on a monitor. You sit there on your couch and try and broadcast a hockey game looking at your TV. It's near impossible. And granted, it's hard to do no matter what. Even tougher in the screen, no peripheral vision. They've been doing an amazing job. What are the chances right now get to the playoffs, or is it too early? Grand Teton Fly Fisherman, it's not too early. In fact, on this channel, about a week ago, search the video Sharks Playoff Math. Whenever you want to cut away from this. Sharks Playoff Math. I did the math. Spell it out for you. I don't like math. I do like the Sharks. I don't like this math, if that makes sense. Is Drew coming back? If not, will a quick quiz return? I'll tell you what would be optimal is if Drew doesn't come back and I steal the segment from him and I do quick quiz. Just kidding. Two questions here. Let me answer the first. I'm not the boss. I think we made a great stride this year to welcome him back virtually. I know fans liked it. I liked it. I'll leave it at that. Will the quick quiz return? Is a great segment. The show Shark Bite and Shark Central, it even took a hiatus last year. So I honestly don't know the future of that. Our network's operation is a lot different now than it was before. So I honestly don't know. Let's see here. I don't like the yellow, orange on our current jerseys. Yellow, orange on the Sharks? I remember at one point when they actually tried to add a little bit more orange in there because the orange was like the stick color. I always thought that the Sharks, and I think the Barracuda have one. They have an alternate that was orange. I always thought the Sharks should just go totally off the charts. Like, come out with an orange jersey one day. See what happens. Oh, man, I missed a lot of the chat here. You should have Chad Pinder shave your head on the stream. LOL. You know what, Matthew? I also noticed Stephen Piscotty the other day, this offseason, has let the flow go in the back. So I'll tell you what, maybe me, Pinder, and Piscotty should do like a 3-for-1. Have somebody just, because we all basically have the same haircut at this point. And Chad, I talked to Chad this offseason. He has trimmed a few times, a little bit. So I have not cleaned it up at all. But yeah, maybe a group haircut session if it all makes sense, right? Like if we're all in the same health situation, you know. Oh, did you hear that? Didn't burp. Body's making noise. Who is in goal tomorrow? John, that's a great question. I still feel good about Dubnyk. It's not to take away from Martin Jones, and I also realize Jones has not played in a while. I also realize that we're playing Friday, Saturday, coming off of last night, and Monday again. So is that 4 games in 6 days again? So you're going to have to see Jones in one of these two. I would say start with Dubnyk. See what you can do. See if you can carry over the way you played last series. Again, carry over the effort. Start there against St. Louis. Joseph would rather tank now and get the first overall draft pick. Gary Bettman said the other day he doesn't believe that any NHL team tanks. And everybody in the media said, oh, joke's on you, pal. I don't know. How bummed am I that I'll only get 2 opportunities to talk Desert Dogs after this season is over. That's right, Desert Dogs. Wait. Stand by. Desert Dogs. You know what? I should do my own drinking game here. Desert Dogs. Desert Dogs. Desert Dogs. I'm almost near the end of this beer now because of that. This 7.4 is starting to go down pretty fast. Yeah, that's in all seriousness, AJ, that's something we haven't really got to thinking about yet. I also have a video here on the channel talking about how I truly feel this. If there was a way to keep the North Division, I'd be all in for it. I love all those Canadian matchups, the all-Canadian division. Problem is, you'd need to have Seattle, which the reason I'm talking Desert Dogs out is because Seattle's coming into the Pacific. I'd rather see Seattle join a North Division than keep the Pacific Division the same. Well, no, you couldn't do that because keep it the same as this year, right? Because last year's would have included Vancouver and Calgary, and Edmonton. So, yeah, we'll still get to talk. Hang on a second. We'll still get to talk desert dogs. Just not as much anymore. And that's probably my last desert dogs comment. Well, it has to be. Oh, I said it. Am I still going to be covering the Sharks when the NHL moves to ESPN? You know what, Chase, I appreciate so many people this year who have seen news. For example, the fact that NBCSN is going to be ramping down by the end of this year. That's the national network, NBC Sports Network. So that's not NBC Sports California or Bay Area or Chicago or Philadelphia or Boston. So that I appreciate that was months ago, and people saw that and were like, are you in trouble? The operation is changing nationally. It doesn't have to do with us regionally. And I also want to point out here that the NHL has what they've structured as a national deal with ESPN. This does not affect the regional broadcasting like we do on NBC Sports California. And I don't know the details of overlapping games and blackouts and all that stuff, but far as we're concerned here from the regional level, it's not what a lot of people think it is. And honestly, until it all gets sorted out, I'm not really in the position to comment because the NHL's not done with their TV deals. There's another one still to take place. And so I'll kind of leave it at that. Maybe when it's done, I can kind of dive in deeper on that because I honestly do have some thoughts as far as what I know to this point. Jessica, would I survive doing college in a pandemic? Random question only because I don't like Zoom University. You know what? I have thought a lot about not only college kids right now, but young people in general who are single, figuring out their life, dating, not socializing, in a lot of ways. The pandemic and being responsible for me has been easier. Why? Because I'm married and I have a child, and that makes it difficult, but it actually makes it easier because he's less than 4 years old. And for the last year, he's not known anything different. You know, it's not like he's missing friends because, he knows about friends and he knows other people, but it's not like he's 6 or 7 and he had a good 5, 6, 7 years of playing with kids and being on the street and whatever in school. And he's never had any of that. So he doesn't know any different right now. He's going to love it. Like when he sees what life is, when he finds out what Disneyland is, and he's going to love all that stuff. But at this point, it's easier for him. He's not, basically at 3 years of age, he just doesn't know all that stuff yet. But to your question, I would be okay, I think. Honestly, I am so Zoom fatigued right now. I really am. It's not a knock against the people I work with. I love them. I love my job. I love everything. It's just the process of meeting people on a conference call and you don't want to jump in. I want to say more, but it's not in person. Body language. Is it my place to talk? Like, ugh. And in a classroom, like you have to be engaged to learn. How easy is it to just be like, I'm watching Zoom. I'm watching a lecture. I'm taking notes over here. I can't do this. Apple Q, quit. I'm out of this, right? Like, there's something about not being in person that I think would really affect the learning atmosphere, the learning capability. So I give credit to anybody who's sticking with this. That being said, I think I would be okay with it. I would be diligent. I would probably survive it, but I can completely see why it's really hard for some people. I can truly see that. Let's see what else we got here. Do I play any PC games? Little Brutus, I play... Where is it here? I don't know if I can bring this all the way over, but this is my control yoke for Flight Sim. That's pretty much all I play. And what's crazy is a lot of people... Oh, look at the tree. It's real. See, it moved. I play Flight Sim for like fun. Because in real life, I teach flying, or I used to, or I'm still licensed to. So it's not like a fantasy thing. It's more like and it's kind of weird because what baseball player like plays MLB The Show for batting practice? They don't. But they play it to like run through a game simulation of like, oh, this happened, that happened, So that's kind of why I mess around on Flight Sim. X-Plane specifically. What do I like covering more, the A's or Sharks, or is the love equal? Nicholas, you know what? You're about to find out because crossover season is happening. Now, I do know some things about my schedule, and I will make more of a formal announcement on that of how I'm going to handle these 5 or 6 weeks of both teams firing at the same time. But the love is absolutely equal. And it's so crazy that when one season ends, and I have yet to cover an A's or a Sharks title yet. So they always end in some form of disappointment. They always do. But when one leads to the other, there's always so much like, oh, I've missed A's baseball so much. And right now, I have. And it's always the same thing, after a long summer. And the A's season is over. I have missed Sharks hockey. And I know I'll be that way too, come October. So the love is equal, the love is real, the love is never fabricated. That's as real as I can be with you, Nicholas. And I appreciate the question because it's an easy one for me to answer. Will I be following March Madness at all? Tell you what, I see the movement today on Twitter. Oh, hang on a second. I clicked on the, let me get to this. But first, what was the hashtag here? Something like, I'm not NCAA property or something. You know what? I completely side with college athletes. March Madness it's one of the most authentic things out there, right? Because it's not polling, it's not bowl games. That's ridiculous. The bowl system, the BCS, ranking teams, having a national championship, like 4 teams could play for it, but only 2 get to, and only one's the winner. You're never going to get it right. It's just, I'm not knocking the people. I'm knocking, there's no good way to do it unless you do it like March Madness. But you can't do that in football like March Madness, or to the same extent. So I love the idea of March Madness. To think how much money it brings in, and to think that they played this whole season through rough times to kind of force the issue to get to this money-making part of it, and that the college kids are getting, what are they getting out of this again? To play through a pandemic? Oh, their free education, which is not happening in classes? Wait, what are they getting out of this? So, I'm not saying they should get boatloads of money. I'm just saying though that if there's an endorsement that they could benefit from, why can't they take it? If you're a musician in college, why can't you have a job? Why can't you make money? Why can't you be a professional at the same time as you're a student? And I'm not saying play in the NBA while you're a college basketball player. I'm just saying if the college is making all this dough off you and they're saying, well, I take a free education, it's worth $45,000 a year. Is it really though? I mean, that's what you charge for it. What's it really worth? Anyway. So, will I be following it? Honestly, I'm just so busy. I'm doing hockey. Eventually, I'm going to be doing baseball here. It's one of those things. If I had time, I love the idea. I love the process. I love college. I love basketball. I love college basketball. I feel like there's so much more hustle. There's more talent in the NBA, but there's more hustle in college basketball. But I don't know that I'll have the time this year. Will we see Remenda anymore this season? Hashtag bring back Drew. AJ, are you drunk? I finished my beer, but are you drunk? Drew is not scheduled anymore for this year. So, but I'm not, and I think he did 6 games. We initially said 5. He did 6. Do I think he's done for this year? Nah. There might be a way. There might be a time and a reason and a place. So we'll see. Like I said, great step this year for us to welcome him back, to bridge that gap. I don't know where it goes from here. We'll see where it goes. Sharks, we can still go 25-5, 1.4 points per game and make it. Well, Jordan, you must have seen my video and saw how I broke it down, because that's pretty much what it's going to take. And that's a tall order. 20 wins in 30 games. Metallica night. Favorite hockey moment, Metallica night at PH Pavilion. Joseph, I know that was a typo. It's just funny. PH Pavilion. Are you a big fan of Ricky as Ricky is? Ricky Henderson? I imagine that's who you're quoting and phrasing it in his words. You know what? Ricky is an awesome dude. Let me say this about Ricky Henderson. He has a box at A's games, and because of my friendship and work relationship with Dave Stewart, over the years, you get invited to Ricky's box. So we do the pregame show. We go up to Ricky's skybox. There's catered food. It's great. It's awesome. You get to hang out with Ricky Henderson. You get to overhear some stories. I try not to bother him too much. Ricky's very generous. He's entertaining. Love Ricky Henderson. And dude looks honestly like he could still steal a few bags. I mean, just the goat of all goats. Oakland product, Oakland hero. It's awesome. Does the NHL's deal with ESPN impact local coverage? I'm sorry, I know I already answered that. Mark, let me say regional coverage, please, not local. Just teasing you. I don't know the full extent, but the easy answer for me to say right now is not really at all. It does not affect the local coverage. The regional coverage. All right, let's see what we got here. When we get some fans at our arena, I think being one of the only teams not having fans is bringing us down a little. I don't know. Does it really make a difference to have between 0 people there and 3,000, hypothetically? Look at Las Vegas. So they opened up the barn to 9,000. How many do you think were there last night? 4,000? 4? I don't even think there was. I think there was 2, maybe 2. I'm getting really good at estimating low attendance numbers. I think it was probably between 2 and 3. I should go back and just see what it was, or even if they released that. But I don't know that at this point, unless it's a half full or a mostly full arena, I don't know that it's going to have the same. It's always going to feel weird unless it's like mostly filled. So, but to answer your question, when will we at least get some fans there? I said this. Jeez, how long have I been going? An hour 17? I probably said this about 47 minutes ago. I really think that you'll find out if fans are coming back when the calendar turns to April. April 8th to March 8th, somewhere in there is, if it's going to happen, that's when I think it might be possible. I don't know anything. I'm not leading this on. I'm not spilling the beans here. I just don't know. But that's what my instinct would tell me. What names did I have for Seattle before they chose the Kraken? I didn't really have any for them, but I do have to say, remembering when Las Vegas was an expansion franchise, I always thought they should be the Epic Knights. The Las Vegas Epic Knights. Because Golden Knights, okay, I realize why you couldn't do Knights. Because a Knight is lower than a King. And the LA Kings are there, and then you'd always be like, why would you choose the ranking that's lower than something else? So Golden Knights kind of puts you over here instead of here, if that makes sense. Or also, why wouldn't you be the Las Vegas Silver Knights? Like their AHL team, the Henderson Silver Knights are, because Nevada is the Silver State. And the whole thing, by the way, of why I call them the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The NHL sent us a memo a couple years ago as broadcasters to say, please call them only the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, okay, but you can't just change the name of the city. You can't say, well, it's going to be the Jose Sharks. What? The city is San Jose. Who are you to change the name? I realize people call it Vegas. People who party there call it Vegas. Where are you going next week? Vegas. But that's not the official city name. Now, okay, Brody, what about the Golden State Warriors? Yeah, but California is the Golden State. So that's an officially recognized nickname. And I'd be fine if they were the Silver State Knights. But they're not. They're the Vegas Golden Knights. Because Las Vegas Golden Knights is 4 words, and that's too much. Come on. I get it, but come on. So I go Las Vegas Golden Knights. As an athlete myself, I would never not give 110% night in, night out. And that's the thing about tanking. I know what you're talking about, Jordan. The commentary about tanking is that would you literally would a coach tell players, like, guys, I need you to lose tonight? Or would a GM be like, I'm going to cut you, bench you, and send you packing? It goes against everything they know. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, right, in the NHL or pro sports. I'm just saying that the thought from a fan of a team doing that is so easy. But in reality, what needs to happen is so difficult and so unnatural. Bettman moved forward, saying that the NHL may keep the whole mini-series as a part of a schedule where teams play back-to-backs. AJ, are you not watching videos on my channel? I did a video the other day to say this. I hope the NHL keeps 3 things that they never otherwise would have done. Number 1 is a North Division, an all-Canadian division. I love it. Number 2 is the series format. I love back-to-backs. The drama, the strategy, the less travel for players, I think they greatly appreciate it. It makes no sense to fly all the way out to Florida for 1 game and then go up to Nashville, then go up to Chicago, and then go back down to Dallas and then Denver. It's stupid. It's so dumb. While you're going to go all the way out there, get 2 done. Get 2 out of the way. I'd rather have more back-to-backs, literally Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, and get those games knocked out with less travel than to just do all these one-and-dones. So I love it. Players love it. Fans love it. And the third thing, by the way, was relax on the dress code. The NHL is the only league where you have to wear a suit and tie, a dress suit, to and from the games, to and from the hotel, to and from the charter flight on game days. That is so antiquated. I love uniformity. I love class. I love overdoing it rather than looking sloppy. But let these guys have some personality, right? They can still wear suits if they want. Or they can wear tracksuits. Or they can wear whatever makes the statement they want to. What's my favorite beer? Love IPAs. Really like double IPAs. Really, really like triple IPAs. Have I ever tried a sour? Of course. I've tried everything. And there's not a beer that I, honestly, if it gets too fruity, I may dislike it. Or what was the other one I had that was, it may have been a sour, but it was like just so bitter at the end. What did I have? I'm trying to remember something I had where I was like, this is on the border of the first thing that I don't really love. My point is, I'm not terribly picky. There's some things I like more than others, but there's nothing I'm like, oh, that's terrible. If it gets like Guinness-y thick also, it's heavy. If it's really heavy, I'll still drink it. I don't know that I'll like it. And sours are okay. Marty, never pronounce it Calgary again. I would never say that, but I'm replicating Curtis Brown, who says it that way. And he's from Unity, Saskatchewan. So what's his deal? When are the ASMR videos coming back? Matthew, do you want an ASMR video? Because I'll do one right now. No, actually, I won't. Brody, calm down or you won't be able to work tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm calling in sick. Hungover for a Friday night. Yeah, because it's Thursday at 11:16 p.m. and I'm completely wasted. No. Am I right now? No. Come on. Interested to see who gets the other half of the NHL package. Rooting for Fox? You know who I'm rooting for. Yeah, you like that? Or do you like this one here? Oh! I want to do my best Doc Emmerich right now. There's a drive! He feathers the puck over to so-and-so and then needles it to Thornton, who slices it to Pavelski, who pushes it to Marlowe. I'm just making up names, and the fact that Doc Emmerich just can't say the word pass. When he was calling games, it was always another word. Shovels it, scoots it, feathers it, slices it, dishes it. All right, this is the NHL on NBC theme. I'm gonna let it go. You know what? I probably shouldn't play that because I might get busted on copyright. What am I doing? Easy, Brazil. Being married with a child can harsh your dating scene. Dating scene? What I was saying earlier was that going through the pandemic, I feel for a lot of people who are missing those like pivotal times of life where you're like out, you need to be out doing stuff, social. For me, it's like, I don't, my partner, I live with her, or we do what we do, like entertainment. We see each other a lot in the pandemic. We don't see a lot of other people. So, the point is that it's a lot different going through this as a 40-year-old versus if I were going through this as 27-year-old Brody. Seattle should change their names, the Seattle Chinooks. So you like that I know what a Chinook is, by the way. A type of salmon native to Washington. I thought a Chinook was a weather condition in the western prairies of Canada. Also look that one up. Oh, this is a great question. Do I fly a drone? I don't have, and I've seen DJI come out with some brand new ones that are just filthy. The problem is the drones I would want would have to be like the best ones out there. So I don't have one. And I would also want to make sure that I have enough time to go fly it and, but I haven't, I would have in mind a bunch of cool shots that I would want to get. The other thing too is I'd always be a little bit nervous about is the battery just going to quit on this thing and it's just going to drop in water right now and I just lost $1,000? You know what I'm saying? I guess they don't do that, but I'd always be like, oh, please don't crash. Please don't crash. Not me flying it crashing, it would just mechanically fail. So, but no, I know some people that have drones and they love them, and I love seeing the shots they get. Oh, AJ. The hat is in the other room. I got to get your... AJ was kind enough to send me a hat. I should put it up here. You know what? In the coming weeks, when we do get the full crossover, actually, I have two hats. I have an A's hat with the Sharks logo, and I have an A's hat with a teal logo, a teal A's logo. So, you know what? I got to, number one, I have to retrieve the one hat from work where it is, and the other one's inside. So this is the spot for the A's Sharks crossover hat. It's going to happen right here. Every time I go to an A's game, my first beer tastes good, then the second from the vendor is terrible. Is that true? The same vendor? The first beer is good. That wouldn't make sense. Usually you'd think the first beer might not be as carbonated or I don't know. Jordan, you know what's crazy? And I can't help you because when was the last time I went to an A's game and had a beer? Now that has happened in recent seasons, but never on a day that I'm working. I typically go on an off day and enjoy being a fan. I don't know what the issue is with that. Should hit up Dave Cavill on Twitter. He's very, very responsive, and I would imagine he might have some thoughts on that or want to know about that. Do I watch college hockey? What was your favorite team in college? You know what? I don't. Again, it's not because there's a lack of interest. It's a lack of time right now in my life. I don't have, I try and focus everything and every resource I have to the Sharks and their system. And I try not to, I try to just do my best there. Now, as my life changes and maybe there's more free time and opportunity, I might. But at this point, it's just not an option. I mean, hockey, A's, it's, I pretty much just kind of live in that world year round. Have I ever flown demilitarized jets or World War II fighter planes? Haven't flown them, but a P-51 and a T-28. So there you go. And it's amazing how loud and antiquated those planes are. Just what's really amazing is the fact that, in the mid 1900s, 40s into 50s, that they made these things fly. Like they designed this and made these things fly. Truly amazing. A handful of years ago, I had the opportunity to fly with the, what was their name of them? The jet team was the Fry's jet team. Oh, the Patriots. Missed out on that. I think I was uncharacteristically ill that day, and I just decided it would not be a good situation. But would love to. You know what? If and when the Blue Angels get really back rolling again, I would love the opportunity to go up and to have them put me through their best of paces and to see if I lose my lunch or if I can do all the G loading maneuvers and the high G loading that they do, where you're like, you have to squeeze and tense your face up so that the blood doesn't rush out of your head and you don't black out, which I probably would and then throw up too. There you go. Favorite ECHL team? Yours is the Idaho Steelheads. Yeah, I'm a big Wheeling Nailers fan. Is that one of the teams? I don't know that I have an ECHL team. At least not since the San Francisco Bulls. Yes, my team is the San Francisco Bulls. I'm still a Bulls fan. I'm a Sharks fan who lives in Las Vegas. I can tell you that the fans can get aggressive. It's not that they're, it's not that. It's just that I want them to get the full experience of being, how many major pro sports teams have they had besides now the Raiders and before that the Golden Knights? And I want them to understand that these years that they're having, like really soak this in. And it's impossible that you get these as your first years, and these don't last forever. You could have these first 5 years be great, 7 years, but even that would be amazing. You could go 20 years after that. You could go 20 full years after that of misery, of mediocrity, of last place finishes, whatever. I'm just saying that they need to know the full experience of being a sports fan. Because, only one team wins it every year. There's so much more disappointment than what they think they've realized is nothing close to the disappointment that every other franchise has gone through in different periods. I don't think that college players are already getting paid. I do think in a lot of cases, they're not getting paid. They're getting their car taken care of, their parents' house taken care of. I absolutely think that things are going on, but that's ridiculous. It shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't. Structure it so that they can get something out of it, and instead of cheating the system, things will be more honest, and they'll all do better from it. And let me say this too. Maybe you could do a baseline payment, because herein lies the question. Well, what are you going to pay college football players a ton, and then basketball players some, then baseball players a little bit? And what about men's and women's sports? How are you going to tackle that? So my answer is overall, do it like a uniform stipend, like do one payment that everybody gets. So now you're not like, well, what about him? What about her? What about this? What about that? Like start there. If you're even going to do that. But you could also just say, hey, you're all on your own. Whatever endorsement deal you want to strike, you can do it. But we're going to stay out of your business. Start there. They won't even do that. Oh, Jordan. Both? Both, absolutely. It was recently asked, what would you like for your birthday dinner? And those right there are literally the two things that were discussed. So there you go. You dated a Cal basketball player who played in March Madness. There you go. Was it Randy Duck? Was it Lamont Murray? I'm just naming older Cal basketball players I grew up watching. I'm not saying that any of that makes sense. So you're traveling with the Sharks and the pilots become incapacitated. Could I land the plane? Oh my goodness. What a scenario. This is it's kind of a sick fantasy, but yes, I'd want the opportunity because I do believe I could do it. Now, what am I basing this on? I've flown a D-level simulator, which, is what airline pilots train on. And I was able to land the plane with a little bit of assistance from somebody else, but not to the point that I couldn't have done it. So it's like saying if you knew you could hit a home run, like if you knew you were capable of hitting one over the fence and you got an at-bat where you knew what pitch was coming, would you want to take the at-bat? Yeah, of course. It's a sick and twisted thing. I don't want any real pilot to become incapacitated. It would be a lot of stress and pressure, but I feel like the adrenaline would kick. I would step in, I'd knock it out of the park. Or I'd one-time it. That's probably the better way to say it. I'd one-time it. Wore your Sharks gear in Vegas. Every time you go to Lids, their mall. Really? You ask if they have Sharks gear. I imagine they don't. They're so Golden Knights heavy down there. At least the last time I was there, and that was since the Raiders have come into town. Scott Hannon was awesome on the broadcast too. I agree. Those first couple games, Hanner was great. He's great with us. In fact, Hanner's going to be with us tomorrow night and Saturday night. Brownie's getting a little weekend off. And the thing about Hanner is, look, and when I talk about stuff like this, like Brownie's our main guy. Like this is not. I hope he sees this. I hope he hears me saying it this way because it's a compliment, right? Brownie's got all the games and shows under his belt. Like the polish really, really shows. But my point about Hanner is that he doesn't have the same quantity of experience, but a lot of times it seems like he does because he's just such a natural at it. And he's done it, he's only been with us for this year and last year under strange circumstances, under a lot of frustration and losses, and he just does really well at it. So, I knew him as a player, and I knew he was a smart enough guy, an intellectual enough guy. You just never know how it translates when it's like, hey, you're on for a full half hour. Show us your best stuff. You never know how it's really going to go. I'm pleasantly surprised, not surprised, but pleasantly confirmed by what Hanner has done for us. Do I think the Sharks will do anything at or before the trade deadline? I think they'll do more selling than buying. They'll only acquire if it really makes sense, and if it's so obvious and so easy to pull the trigger on it. Love Hannon. Although one night he kept calling Timu. Tiemu Solani. By the way, that's the way I say it. Tiemu Solani. Well, I mean, like, it's crazy. As I've heard a couple guys do that. They call Tiemu. I'm like, yeah, it's Timo Meyer and Tiemu Solani, but yeah, no, it's so close. I totally get it. Totally get it. Sharky gonna pull some kind of prank on me tomorrow. To be honest, I'm not sure that Sharky's a lot like. You know what? Is Sharky allowed? Let me fire off a quick text message to Sharky. I'm sorry, this is bad live stream here, but I am gonna text Sharky right now. He's not in my phone as Sharky, by the way. Do you get to come to games? Question mark. There you go. I just texted Sharky. He's probably asleep right now. Knowing old Sharky, he probably has a engagement to do at 7 a.m. tomorrow, so he's probably fast asleep. Probably won't get an instant response, but we'll find out. I don't know if Sharky's allowed. If he is, I don't want to be more than 6. I want to be 20 feet away from him. And not just because of social distancing. I just don't want to be around him. You just bought your TLM 103. Oh, RC, that's awesome. What is a TLM 103? That is a microphone, which is actually very similar to this one. It's in the same family as this one. It's the one I used to use. This is called a U87. That one, that's the sibling of it. It's called a TLM 103. Great microphone for recording, broadcasting. A lot of your favorite songs have been recorded on that mic, the TLM 103, and this mic, the U87. That's awesome, RC. I hope you enjoy that. I'm a big microphone geek. Love all this stuff. So let's see here. Oh man, I'm so behind on the chat. Brazil waking up VIP mascots. You're calling Sharky a VIP mascot? Come on. Silly String can reach 20 feet. You think that's what he would do to me? That's definitely what he would have to do something from a distance. And in that case, I'm going to wear, and I've yet to wear one of those full face shields. I would wear that to protect. Sharky is too busy to respond, prepping his prank. If the orange one is Philly is allowed, then Sharky should definitely be. If I remember correctly, let's see, do I have any texts? Nope. Still hasn't texted me. Sharky's asleep. Gritty had to beg. Gritty had to posture publicly. Oh, the NHL won't allow me. And then all of a sudden, oh, okay, fine, Gritty. Here, shut up, go. You're good. Just stay away from people. Is that me with some Gritty hate? Look, I like the idea of Gritty, but Sharky makes it about the Sharks. Gritty makes it about Gritty. You agree? You met Hannon at the alumni booth and got his autograph. Nice guy. Now, Moogla, I will say, because I think you said earlier you got Curtis's autograph. That's defacing a jersey. A Scott Hannon autograph jersey is worth something. Hang on. Wait. A Curtis Brown jersey is worth nothing, but a Scott Hannon jersey, that's worth something. That's not a joke. So why did I do the rim shot? That's real. Oh, Curtis is going to be a healthy scratch tomorrow. You know what? And we have, in the COVID era, we have to declare it. Curtis is, I know you're not seeing Curtis right here. Not to scare anybody. He's fine. We just didn't invite him tonight. What do I do after post-game live? In normal years, I take my time, put my stuff away at work or at the tank, wherever, and then drive home. I try and get home. At that point, I've been at work for a while. I'm ready to go home. But here in 2021, it's literally we're off the air at 10:01, hypothetically. I'm changed and walking out of the building by 10:05. In my car, a few minutes after that, I'm home by 10:45. So actually, but what I'm going to do, I think, tomorrow night and maybe Saturday is I'm going to try and do these live streams from a little remote setup that I have from SAP Center. So after we finish postgame, I'll get everything set up and I'll do one of these chats with you guys tomorrow and Saturday from the tank before I leave, from inside the bowl, from the Arena Bowl. I think that might be cool. Let me know if you guys would want to see that. A friend of yours got to do one of the Blue Angels ride. Wow. Had to watch his 45-minute you-know-what eating grin of the video. An S eating grin, I believe. That's what you're saying, Alden? Yeah. It's you know what? Like that's a lifetime, that's a bucket list type thing. Wheeling Nailers are an ECHL team. Thanks, Craig. Yep. Biz Nasty played for him. The P-51 is the most unique sounding plane. Yeah, it absolutely is. When you're inside it or when you're spectating it from the outside. Absolutely. How did you convince your wife to take over a room of the house for a studio? This, I don't want to divulge too much, but this room used to be a playhouse, like a room with bunk. There used to be kids' bunk beds, like right behind me where I'm sitting right here. And so a couple years ago, ripped it out. It was, honestly, this room was storage for, like several years. And then in 2018, I want to say, was it 17 or 18? One of those summers a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I need a spot for the studio. If you go back and watch some of the original footage, this thing was so primitive. In fact, and I even added the lights recently. Watch this. This is kind of what it used to look like. And then this past fall, I was like, I want to get the LED thing going. So, whoa. So I did that. And what's kind of cool is you've seen this pattern behind me. Let me see here. Where is it? See what I can do here. Give me 1 second. So what I can do is, like, if you want it to be more Oakland A's themed, you've got green and gold on that side, or we can do more Sharks-ish colors. Teal is hard to make on an LED ribbon. And there's blue, just kind of a blue thing here. Got one for Christmas, although that doesn't really fly in March. How about the old USA, red, white, and blue? Yeah. I don't know what video I'm making with that. What other ones are there? Oh, this one's just kind of a gold, a warm colored one. But there's a lot of cool things I can do. And by the way, I'm mostly altering these lights. I can also do the same thing with these lights. Now I just turn them off, and I can turn them back on again. But I was messing with this the other day. This one says Halloween. Yeah. Party. Like, this one's a little bit too much for me. Like, if you had to watch a live stream with that, or what is this, dance party? What is this one? Disco? Oh! There we go. That's a little overboard right there. New Year's. These are different preset themes. That one's not bad. If it were just a little bit less intense, it's just too much. Christmas one. One for birthday. The other ones I saw here. That's just too fast. It's crazy, though. This one's called Forest. I don't know what's going on there on the bottom. It's like flickering on the bottom. I don't know. These are all the presets. So there's also one that it'll do, like, whoa! Okay, that's too much. Like, I'm getting a headache from that. There's also a couple other ones that respond to, like, music or sound, but I don't really mess with those. So I'll put it back on this one. All right, this is the one I mostly use. Just kind of colorful. It's got some pop. But again, I mean, some people think that this is too much. Some people even think that this is too much. Like, warm colors over here, cool colors over here. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. It's about to reset, by the way, so it's going to go through the whole test and then, oh, shoot. Seriously? Seriously, that's how it starts? Stop that. Okay. Now I'm in trouble because I reset it, and look what it did. This is unreal. Brazil, look what you did. All right, I'm almost reconnected here. There we go. Okay, stay there. Don't screw that up again. All right, sorry about that. Last time I was in a plane, more than a year ago. Was it February of 2020? Yeah. Speaking of drones, has Mario Ferraro still been taking his out? He did some cool videos. Yeah, you know what? Like, Mario's too busy in the hockey season right now to make YouTube videos, but I love the fact that he does them. I love the fact that he loves YouTube. And he and I have to do something here, right? I want you guys to all bother Mario. Like, I'll text him eventually. We'll talk when the season's winding down, but you guys should all tell him that he needs to do a collaboration with Brazil on YouTube. We'll do something fun. I don't know what we'll do. We'll do something fun. Oh, the old Cow Palace for Bulls games. I wish I could have gone back to the Cow Palace for Sharks games. I never got to see a Sharks game at the Cow Palace. It's a life regret right there. Sharky has better dangles. I've seen videos of you playing. Well, I mean, I'm terrible, so anybody's better than me. Love Comrade Gritty, but you're right, he's a real diva. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I love the fact that he's an ambassador of hockey and he reaches the casual fan. I love it, but Gritty loves himself for real, some Gritty. Well, if Brody doesn't show up to work tomorrow, we know what happened. Gritty got him. Gritty's like the Family Guy of mascots. Kind of funny at first, then got old real fast. That's great. Should you go to Vegas or Arizona? Debating on where you want to watch when you get tickets to watch the Sharks play for your birthday. You know what? Can you do both? Because you could make that drive pretty easy. And I don't know when they're back in Arizona, but could you do spring training and then hockey also? I don't know. Depends. Because I don't know in Vegas. Like, do you really want to go do Vegas stuff in Las Vegas? Huh. Sorry, I'm just looking at the old baby monitor over there. Saw some activity. Might have to be cutting this video off pretty short here. And you know what? It's already been quite a while. I got to address this. Josh, thank you so much for the super chat. Always Sharks colors. Next time you talk to KG, Curtis Gabriel asked him if he took 29 for us due to Klo. You know what? Ryan Klo never backed down. He even fought me once. And I know what you're saying. So I will. That's a great question. And just to recap, Josh, I appreciate you in the super chat. All of the contributions there go back to this very YouTube channel. I'm not making a living off this stuff, but it does help me improve the quality and the value of what I try and do here for all you guys. And I apologize. Yes, those lights, that is a seizure warning. And that's not even a joke. Like that could give people a headache at the very least. So sorry about that. Yes, I should have planned that out a little bit better. Oh, there you go. March 26th and 7th in Arizona. You could probably see some baseball and some hockey down there if done right. The Brazil cast, green and yellow lights. I just came back. You just came back from In-N-Out? Did you do a double-double? You go animal style, bro? Was that what you did? Milkshake? Oh, it's a good one. There's so many. Link Gates. Let me go totally off the map. Link Gates. Oh, 5 more to get Drew on the show. Josh, man, I really appreciate that again. No, I told you that's not going to get Drew. This is only going to help the YouTube channel. Forget Drew. So you know what? On that note, it looks like I need to head inside into the bedroom and help my son out. So I'm going to say goodnight to all of you. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Really appreciate it. Until next time, be safe. I will see you on TV tomorrow night, and then I will do a live recap of the game from SAP Center. And I look forward to seeing all of you on that. All right? Good night, everybody.